Do you like my poinyoing? Daggerheart is overall a great system, not without its flaws, as everything in our beautiful universe. But it is well thought, clearly made with love, and by people who listens to its players. In this video we go through 3 reasons why I felt in love with this system. This will be a short one. So far I haven't seen anyone coming up with these 3 reasons, so it should be a fresh take on the subject, and by the end of it I'll throw an extra flavorful one. First, it's just easy to run. As a forever GM and unfortunately a functional adult in society, my main struggle is time. I like to think of myself as a balanced man, one that tries to organize its sessions within the necessary. Nothing more, nothing less. That being said, to run a Dungeons and Dragons sessions, it usually takes me 2 after work nights. Between coming up with goals and plot twists, and tying together everyone's PC so anyone feels left out, and balancing encounters, and searching for images and sounds and songs. It's a lot of work. But running Daggerheart felt really easy. Planning a session involves bits, events and scenes that may come up. But you can't force a lot of things, as the fear rolls will change it all anyway. So the story flow is organic, and those bits are like cards you have in your hand, waiting for the perfect opportunity to play them, or making a perfect opportunity by spending fear. And I eventually discovered that the countdown mechanic is great for tracking the pacing of the game. You control the flow, and gives urgency for the players to act. Yes, you could use this mechanic in any ttrpg, but they're not written in the dungeonsmaster guide. They are written in the Daggerheart core rulebook. Plus, the fear tokens are an excellent tool to control the heat of the game. If you happen to have a lot of fear tokens, you know your players are having it easy for some time. And if things are getting stale, you might wanna blow something up. And the adversaries and environments and mechanics are very easy to pick up and play. Really feels like a modern game for modern times. Hell, you could improvise a whole session. I don't personally believe this is gonna be anyone's best work, but you can do it. With Daggerheart, I plan for a full engaging session within a 1 after work night. That's half the time. That's like 2 to 3 hours prep. Sometimes I spend less time prepping the session than actually playing it. I'm by no means the best GM out there, but my players are having a fun time and that's what matters the most. Quality of life is major for a GM, because he's the one actually working before having fun. Especially if you intend to run a long-term campaign. As a forever GM, I felt seen. Second, speaking of which, the main mechanic of Daggerheart is the hope and fear system. Every player role has a more or less 50% chance of getting the GM a fear token. In order to present new obstacles or adversaries to the narrative, the GM needs to spend those fear tokens. But those tokens don't come as a limiter rather than a rhythm counter. You can only stack 12 of them, so you have to spend them at some point. And this brings a natural flow to the game. A situation leads to players' roles. Those roles create memorable moments and fear tokens. The fear tokens are later used to generate new situations. As a GM, you feel like a maestro leading an orchestra, leading into a beautiful, if somewhat improvised, song. And once you feel like it's a good moment, or things are getting too easy, you can easily hit things up by spending a fear token. And that does not feel unfair for your players, as they themselves gave you those tokens. I happen to know a thing or two about game designing, and this is a beautiful example of how they tied game mechanics with narrative flow. It's just another thing that makes the GM life so much easier. Not having to account for narrative flow into prep makes it so much lighter. Third, this one may come as a surprise, but it is actually an optional role. In the page 89 of the rulebook, there is explaining the spotlight mechanics. Right there at the corner, there's a small box with an optional rule, the Spotlight Tracker. If you're watching this video, you probably know by now, this game has no initiative mechanics into combats. Players keep on doing their stuff until one of them fails or rolls with fear, and then it's the GM's turn. And if you're worried about a spotlight-hungry player that will play again and again, you could use this optional rule. But I was mostly worried about the other side. The introvert players, the ones that will never play. And that's why I tested out this tool. The Spotlight Tracker is an action token your players need to spend in order to make an action. Look, He's dreaming. So nothing prevents a player of acting 2 times in a row, but he will spend up all his tokens. And the only way a player gets its tokens back is after every single one of them spent all of their tokens. So sooner or later, everyone will get 2 actions. The rulebook intended to use this tool in combat, but I actually use it for every situation of the game. Exploration, social encounters. It was a huge success. You see, most people are not evil by nature. A spotlight-hungry player is just too excited to play. And they actually enjoyed a lot this rule, so it would keep them in check. I have made a small change though. I permitted that players gave each other their tokens in an out-of-combat situation. If the rest of the party understands it's time for one player to shine, they can give their tokens to him. Like a rogue getting inside a guarded manor, or a bard seducing the dragon. And this kind of sponsorship actually flourished a kind of camaraderie between them. And in combat situations, everyone gets to act sooner or later. It's like we still have turns of combat, we just don't have initiative. And for a plus, more than balancing Spotlight, this tool also proved very useful when the party split up. Before Daggerheart, I always hated party splits as a GM. I had trouble balancing how much time I gave to each group. But the Spotlight trackers are actually great timing trackers as well. When a group uses up all of its trackers, I know it's time to give my attention to the other group. Daggerheart, once more thinking about my well-being as a game master. Thank you, master. Extra. Oh, that was hard. Okay, I put that as an extra because that's not a game changer in any way, but it scratches something deep inside my monkey brain. Daggerheart takes a lot of physical trackers. Cards tracks your skills, tokens tracks your hope and your fear, and if you want, your action economy. I found myself with a lot of coins and accessories to play the game, and it felt really good. It's just so nice to have these little clinky things, you know? Of course, you can track anything with a pen and paper. And it is a game that can be played online like any TTRPG. But if you're in that kind of stuff like I am, you have a lot of colored trinkets for each meta currency. And this game has a lot of meta currencies. So, Daggerheart's not only a beautifully well-made game, it also gives emphasis to quality of life and merges mechanics into the narrative. This kind of time-saving stuff compounds through time. I firmly believe this is the secret sauce. Of course, we're not ignoring the fact they capitalized its advertisement on Critical Role fame. I'm just saying that all in all, these guys are doing it right. I hope you enjoyed this fresh take on Daggerheart mechanics. There's a lot more to be said, for instance the campaign frames that gives a lot of versatility to the system. But that's for another video. For now, thank you for your time, it's valuable and I appreciate it. La 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 la.